Solstice of Heroes has arrived for its second time in Destiny 2. This was my first chance to participate in the Solstice of Heroes, and I have but 4 words to describe the entire experience. It is a grind. Now, that being said, with some effort and extermination of your social life, all the armor sets can be upgraded and completed within less than a week. I personally devoted way too much time to this event and completed the full Majestic armor set in about 3 days' time. So, what are my thoughts? Well, let's start with the European Aerial Zone. The EAZ is a brilliant new area that takes place on some floating islands somewhere on Earth, I guess, but that's not important. What is important is the game loop that is created with the EAZ in mind. Simply put, you load into the area, kill many bosses, kill a large boss after time runs out, and then loot chests in which the amount corresponds to the number of mini bosses that were killed in that section. From these chests you can get Solstice key fragments or Solstice packages, which can be opened with said key fragments. You can also earn these fragments extremely quickly by doing playlist activities such as Strikes, Crucible, and Gambit if you want to get all those packages open very quickly. That in and of itself is pretty self-explanatory, and it isn't even the core part of the experience in my opinion. What is the armor that was added in the event. The Solstice armor seems like a simple concept at first. You get the drained armor, upgrade it to renewed, and then upgrade it to majestic. However, in practice, this creates the grindiest experience ever. We're talking things like 25 patrols on various planets, 20 public events across multiple pieces of armor, and 50 bounties to upgrade one single armor set alone. That's not to say that I don't like a good grind, however. I can see this would be a turnoff for many people due to work, school, or just a lack of time for this kind of grind in general. So what can you do to be the most efficient that you can be when going for these armor sets? My first tip to get this done quickly is that if you have the choice between Gambit and Crucible, always do Crucible. Later on, you will be forced to play Gambit, but that's for later tip. If you are given the choice, play Crucible. It's faster, over quicker, and it's just overall better for efficiency. Thank me later. Number 2. When you have to play and complete 10 games of Gambit, do Gambit Prime. Instead of having the best of 3 round setup of original Gambit, you only have to complete 1 round instead of a potential 3. I don't even have to explain to you why this is better, so just do Gambit Prime. Number 3, and probably the biggest one that I can give, on the renewed armor set, do your heroic public events at the same time and on the same planet that you're doing your patrols. I completed the armor set on my Warlock, so I had to go to Titan for patrols, which in my opinion is probably the hardest planet to do this on. While I was running around grabbing or completing patrols in an area, a public event would spawn. It only takes a couple of minutes to make a public event heroic and complete it, because there are so many people doing this on PC right now. And while I was doing it, not even thinking about it, I was also completing a salvage bounty that had me killing vandals, thus killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Do this over and over again and you can definitely complete this portion within an hour, easily. Piggybacking off of that, we have tip number 4, which is prioritizing patrols. I have seen some stuff regarding this online and wanted to give my opinion on the topic. The most widely known thing is that kill and salvage patrols are the fastest ones that you can do, and that is completely true. Absolutely 100% factual. They are so much faster than everything else you can do. However, I recently saw something that said that they are so much more efficient that you simply should avoid any other patrol. But in my experience, this seems like a bad idea. Maybe it's just me or other people who are focusing on getting Majestic armor on a Warlock, but Titan is too small to simply avoid them as there are only 2 areas to get patrols from. So prioritize kill and salvage missions over other ones, because they are so much better. But I don't think that completely ignoring others is such a great idea either. Number 5 is yet another tip for the renewed armor set. Prioritize picking up bounties that can be done while doing other things. If you want to be as efficient as possible and finish these sets as quickly as you can, you have to be prioritizing more than one thing at a time. Multitasking is key for all of the sets the whole time you're upgrading them. So what do I mean by things that can be done while completing other things? These are things like the obvious, Gambit bounties, Crucible bounties, Vanguard bounties, and most importantly, Eververse bounties that people tend to forget about. However, this does not mean that you should be avoiding all of the bounties. If you are close after doing these, do some of the bounties that you may have to go a bit more out of your way to complete, such as things like Black Armory bounties from 801, Petra bounties for the Dreaming City, as well as planetary NPCs who offer 3 bounties a day on their respective planets. These may take a bit longer to do, and you should not make them a priority to complete. However, they are still a viable option if you are close to completing the bounty portion of the renewed armor set. Number 6. If you aren't seeing progress towards the thing that you're aiming for, you're doing something wrong. To the average person, this is incredibly obvious, but you can do strikes the livelong day on the renewed armor set and see 0 progress towards your strike kills. This is because you don't just need to get 300 strike kills in the strike playlist like the armor set would have you believe from the character screen. What you actually have to do is get kills while matching the daily element that rotates during the Solstice of Heroes. To put it simply, all you have to do is get kills and strikes and make sure that your subclass matches the daily element that can be seen in your buffs. Easy tip, I know, but I can definitely see it tripping some people up throughout the event. These are the best tips that I can come up with to make sure that the armor grind is done the quickest and most efficient way possible for you during this event. I will have another video up in the next few days discussing my thoughts on the Majestic armor and the overall experience of the Solstice as a whole. And until then, you'll have a great one, and I hope to see you in the next one.